Good evening, Council, and everyone who's joined us tonight. I'm Vic Kelson, Director of Utilities for the City of Bloomington. I have also on the call with us are the Assistant Directors from CBU, Laura Pettit from Finance, Brad Schrader from Engineering, Tom Axon from Operations, Brandon Prince from Transmission and Distribution, and James Hall from Environmental Programs. We're happy to be here to talk about our budget for the 2021 year. CBU exists to provide a safe and sustainable water, wastewater, and stormwater services in an economical manner, promoting prosperity and quality of life in our community. We have at this time 164 full-time and 19 hourly employees. Hang on, I've got to stretch this window here. And we have three separate utilities: water, the waterworks, the sewer works, and the stormwater utility, and they operate through 6 interconnected divisions. In waterworks, we have about 25,300 active accounts. We operate the Monroe Water Treatment Plant. We have 420 miles of water mains, 3,064 fire hydrants. The sewer works has 22,574 service connections. We have the Dillman and Blucher Pool treatment plants, about 320 miles of collection mains, and over 400 manholes. The stormwater utility operates 101 miles of pipe and ditches and nearly 5,700 storm inlets. CBU is a fee-for-service operation. It's fully funded by our ratepayers. We receive no tax subsidy from the general fund at all. So our finances are completely separate from the rest of the city. Our budgeting approach is also a little bit different. We budget all of our anticipated revenues, and we do it like this. We have category budgets for personnel, supplies, contract services, and all of our debt service on the bonds. We budget those according to the estimates of what the costs are going to be. Any remaining revenues are budgeted as extensions and replacements, or ENR as we call it, and that's utilized for capital improvements during the year. What this means is that if our revenues are stronger than we might have budgeted, there may be more money for ENR than we anticipated. But if our revenues are short, then we back off on the ENR spending. So that's all based on our revenues, and of course we're always paying attention to cash flow as we're spending that money. We've responded quite a lot to the COVID-19 crisis, as everybody else has. In addition to the CDC's distancing and PPE guidelines, we've also made some operational changes. We closed the service center to walk-in customer visits. We do meet with customers by appointment. We divided the transmission and distribution crews into split shifts, so we reduced the number of people who were in the garage at any one time. We've discouraged meetings with contractors at the service center, and most of our office workers are working from home now. The Dillman wastewater treatment plant staff have been making hand sanitizer for city operations. We've had no disruptions or service interruptions related to COVID, but we have had 5 positive tests. Overall, we're anticipating about a 7% revenue reduction in 2021 compared to the past year. And we've seen an increase of about 3 times in the number of delinquent accounts so far during the crisis. In 2021, we have a number of major initiative categories, continuing our improvements in water quality, replacing water mains, making investments in stormwater infrastructure, modernizing our internal processes, taking more steps toward climate action, and improving our economic sustainability. We'll just do a short update of our 2020 budget goals. We have a lot of them published, but we're just going to hit the highlights here. For all utilities, we're working on a request for proposal for laboratory services for all of our operations. We're going to complete the deployment of asset management software for our linear infrastructure. That's pipes, lift stations, manholes, fire hydrants, and so forth. And we'll begin an audit of those assets. We'll conduct a cost of service study and a rate review for the water utility. We're working with ITS on completing a customer satisfaction survey. We'll complete the bonding for the Jordan River Tunnel project and the Dillman wastewater treatment plant modernization projects. We will be completing the implementation of a system-wide data historian in our supervisory control and data acquisition systems. And we'll complete the deployment of a laboratory information management system, or LIMS. On waterworks, we've succeeded all year in providing water that meets or exceeds full compliance with regulatory requirements. We are continuing to expand efforts for water protection in the Lake Monroe watershed. We have a data collection team that's working with a public water fund team to do data collection at a gauge in Kurtz, Indiana. We're going to complete the installation of our advanced metering infrastructure at last in the next month or two, and we'll be deploying a customer portal for all of our customers. We're investing $1.7 million in the replacement of high priority water mains, and we're completing a study of the use of a chemical additive to control algal growth in the Monroe water treatment plant. We also will complete a study of our per capita water consumption history in order to set benchmarks for the 20% reduction called for in the Sustainability Action Plan. On sewer works, we're planning to complete the Dillman Road wastewater treatment plant modernization and bid package. That is all done, and they're actually working on that project. We've completed the installation of the UV treatment system and the non-potable water system at the Blucher Pool plant. We've spent $622,000 on sewer main inflow and lining to prevent sewer line inflow and infiltration. We've also replaced about 350 feet of sewer over on Madison Street. We will be completing the lift station and sewer for the IU Health hospital that's being built. We will complete the I-69 sewer locations, and the environmental group will finish its grease retention device study, and we'll be bringing plan updates to EPA and then eventually to council. On the stormwater utility, we've increased the residential stormwater grant program to $75,000 this year. All those grants have been awarded and the work's being done. We will be beginning the Jordan River Tunnel replacement project, which will improve the downtown stormwater drainage system. Finally, for this year, we're implementing strategies for good stormwater housekeeping that meets item standards, and we'll be continuing that in coming years. Our budget goals for 2021 are organized according to something called the Effective Utility Management Framework. This was developed by the American Waterworks Association and others. Basically, it breaks all of our operations into 10 activity areas, as shown here. We will only be talking about the first 5 tonight, but we have set goals in all 10 of these categories. Beginning with product quality, the activity description overall is to provide fit for purpose water and other recovered resources such as energy and nutrients and biosolids that meet or exceed full compliance with our regulatory requirements, and they're consistent with the customer's needs. Of course, ever since the Mayor Hamilton came in 2016, the issue of disinfection byproducts and managing them better has been high on our list. We will continue to be working on that in the coming years. We've set goals of about 50 parts per billion for the trihalomethane category of byproducts and 40 parts per billion for the total haloacetic acids. We've been able to achieve this by making process changes and some equipment changes in the plant, and we continue an ongoing optimization program, meeting at the plant every 2 weeks. In 2021, we're planning to install 10 flushing hydrants that can be operated remotely. So we won't have to send people out to flush hydrants. If we see water quality issues in certain parts of the system, we'll be able to flush from the plant. In the sewer works and product quality, we'll operate the plants 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, without violations of our NPDES permits. And by And in 2021, we will be completing a local limits study for the Blucher Pool water treatment plant. We have the local limit study is the first step in establishing an industrial pretreatment program. We have a program at the Dillman plant. We've never had one at Blucher Pool, but now that we're getting the new hospital, plus some of the other development in the Northern Basin, it's time that we have an industrial treatment program for the Northern plant. On the stormwater utility, we will be completing a stormwater master plan development by the end of 2021. This is going to cost about $200,000, and it will involve a lot of stakeholder participation throughout the city. So we're trying to come up with a better plan for how we move forward with stormwater projects and implement our green infrastructure program. Operational optimization is the second category. Clearly, this is making our plants run more effectively, using fewer resources, making less waste, and so forth. I don't need to read that long box there. In all utilities, we will be taking advantage of all these data systems we've been building, the asset management system, our improved SCADA and historian system, and our LIMS system, and we will be developing new analytical tools or computer dashboard applications. We plan to deploy at least 3 of them in 2021. We'll also begin to expand our asset management program to not just include the buried infrastructure, but to take in all 3 of our treatment plants as well. On the sewer works, by the end of the first quarter, we'll complete our laboratory equipment updates that will allow us to monitor dissolved metals in water and wastewater at much lower concentrations. We'll also be able to test for metals that we currently can't, and we have to send out to an outside lab. By the end of the second quarter, we'll be adding cloud and mobile tracking software for the sewage waste haulers as part of our preferred pumper program. This will reduce paper use and improve our ability to maintain good records. Employee and leadership development is the third category on the list, but it's very, very important to us. It's the activity of recruiting, developing, and retaining a workforce that's competent, motivated, adaptive, and safety focused. At CBU, we've made safety our highest priority. It's the first thing we talk about in our internal meetings, and training has been a really high priority for us since we've been together. Our training programs especially focus on making sure that all the people who need licenses have them. And each year, as directed by the mayor, we invest about 1.5% of our personnel budget on training and development. In 2021, we will continue our policy of having at least one team member who's CPR certified at every work site. And in 2021, our senior leadership will engage in training for value stream mapping, and we'll do mapping efforts for 4 of our operational processes. Basically, our objective here is to identify and remove waste and improve our SOPs throughout the organization. Financial viability is to understand and plan for the full life cycle cost of our operations and the value of our water resources. So this is balancing debt and operational costs and all the other things we do to make sure that we can continue to operate in a cost-effective manner and make the best use of our ratepayers' dollars. In all utilities, we will be using the asset management system to audit the linear infrastructure by the end of 2021. That's water distribution, piping, and sewer collection piping. We'll also competitively award the contracts for external laboratory services. This will ensure competitive pricing and allow test results to be automatically imported into our laboratory information management system. In the waterworks, CBU will complete a cost of service study and rate review. We've been working on that this year. We had planned to bring a rate review to the council in July of 2020, but we've delayed it owing to COVID. We will be bringing it in the first quarter of 2021. After council reviews it and hopefully approves it, it would have to go to the Indiana Utilities Regulatory Commission for final approval. And we would not expect a water rate change or increase to happen until 2022. Infrastructure strategy and performance is maintaining and enhancing the condition of all of our assets over the long term at the lowest possible life cycle cost. This is an area that will really benefit from the asset management system and the improved work order tracking that we're going to be able to do. In the waterworks, we're addressing aging transmission and distribution infrastructure. We will replace up to 2.5 miles of water mains in 2021 at a cost of up to $1.7 million. By the end of third quarter, we'll identify all of the lead service lines in our system. We anticipate that it would take 3 to 15 years to replace all of the lead service lines. Our policy has been to replace them when we see them for a very long time. But the new lead and copper rule coming from EPA is going to require that we identify all those lead service lines as soon as we, at a much sooner time. The Monroe treatment plant will get a new roof by the end of the third quarter, and depending on how the revenues come in for 2021, we'll do up to $4.4 million of other capital improvement projects in the plant and distribution system. Sewer works, we anticipate 70% completion of a $23 million project that's modernizing and adding capacity at the Dillman plant. We will also complete the replacement of a sewer capacity expansion. This project is in conjunction with IU. They're paying 41% of the project costs for a new sewer that will serve the new dormitories up near the stadium and a sewer catchment basin that surrounds that area. The project overall is about $2 million, and since IU contributes about 41% of the flow to that system, they've agreed to pay 41% of the cost of the project. Also, by the end of 2021, we will complete sewer lining for 3 to 4 miles of pipe and do other improvements at a cost of about $400,000. In the stormwater utility, by the end of the fourth quarter, CBU will implement the strategies for stormwater housekeeping to meet the item standards. We will continue the residential stormwater grant program, again at $75,000, and we will complete about half of the Jordan River Tunnel replacement project by the end of 2021. That's a 2-year project. We still hope to start it this year. Also in 2021, we'll begin a project to dredge the stormwater detention facilities at Miller Showers Park. Overall budget highlights, we are not requesting any new positions, but as part of our advanced metering infrastructure program, we promised our union employees that we did not intend to reduce the head count as it became unnecessary to read meters manually. Instead, we are reconfiguring those positions into general purpose meter service personnel to help maintain the system and make other improvements that we need to make in our distribution system. We're asking to increase our customer assistance program to $50,000. That would serve 180 to 200 customers. This year, we have not yet spent half of the $45,000 that was budgeted for customer assistance as yet. We will continue the investments that we're making at the Dillman plant. It's a really large project. And of course, the renovation of the Jordan River Tunnel is a huge initiative. Unfortunately, I can't read the Zoom has put the faces over the all-important right-hand column. We anticipate a decline of about 7.75% in revenues for the water utility. This number is based on the experiences that we had earlier this year when I went home for the last 2 months of the term. On the sewer, that most of our customers pay their sewer bills based on their water usage, but some of them don't. So we anticipate a slightly smaller decline in sewer revenue. And stormwater, we anticipate about 3.5% reduction. Our budget overall reflects those revenues. So what we anticipate is a budget that's about 7.75% smaller than in 2020. This is a reduction of about $1.4 million, a total budget of about $17.7 million. That reduction is primarily in the E&R category, as we talked about before. So that's where we have room to move things around pretty effectively. But we do anticipate, with reduced water demand, we do anticipate a reduction in the cost of our supplies. The reduction in the P&I, the water sinking fund, that's debt service on our bonds. As you might recall, earlier this year, you approved a refinancing of our water utility debt, and that refinancing is resulting in a reduction of about $350,000 a year in our debt service. So nice, thank you for that. In the sewer works, something's going on here. In the sewer works, as I said, we have about a 6% reduction in revenues anticipated. In this case, our budget for the whole year will be about $1.5 million smaller than it was last year, and at about $22.8 million. The major reductions, again, are in supplies because we anticipate smaller flows. A lot of the E&R is going down because we're replacing so much equipment on the bonded project for the plant improvements. But we do see a $1.3 million increase in the debt service for the sewer utility, owing to the bonds that we will be bringing to later this year. And in the stormwater budget, the stormwater budget is I apologize. I can't see the right-hand column here.
And Mr. Kelson, we are starting to get to the end of the time, but because you are having some difficulties, absolutely, we want you to finish your presentation here. So,
well, you can see the numbers here. We anticipate about 3.5% reduction in revenues this year. The increase you see in 2020 and 21 on the storm sinking, that's all related to the Jordan Tunnel project. So, in conclusion, our budget request reflects increases and decreases that meet our goals while dealing with the revenue realities we anticipate, improving water quality, our smart meter program, replacing water mains, improving our stormwater, and modernizing our equipment and our internal processes. Thanks for your consideration, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
thank you.